Right, having hiked around the city for a few hours now, I'm having a break, having some tea and one of the chupa chups I habitually carry in my work bag. I'm in the Burggarten, which is the castle gardens. That is the Hofburg, which, this area has been the seat of government for 750 years. Hofburg is quite a sprawling edifice. This part here is libraries and so forth. It's called the Neuburg Wing, and it was built 1881 to about 1913. And as the name would suggest, the whole thing was the seat of power and residence of the Habsburg dynasty. You stay all the way back. The Habsburgs were part of the Holy Roman Empire ruling family. The Holy Roman Empire, of course, was famous for not being Holy Roman or an empire, but we'll leave that alone for now. So all the way up until 1918, when, of course, as the heads of state for the Austro-Hungarian Empire, they were deposed. And since that time, it's been the place of work and the residence of the President of Austria. The President of Austria is a guy called Sascha van der Bien, or VDB as he's known, who's pretty much the opposite, actually, of the Prime Minister. Like Czech Republic, the President is a mostly ceremonial position. VDB was born in Vienna, in the Reich, actually, 1944, January 1944. He's 80 years old. He was born to Estonian refugees who fled from the Baltic states when the Soviet Union took them over in 1940. So they came here. He's the head of the Green Party, actually. And he's, if you like, a left of centre politician. If you like, the polar opposite of that, the Prime Minister, his name is Karl Nehammer. I'm not even kidding. And he is the current party leader for the Austrian People's Party, the ODP. He came to power a couple of years ago. And he is, if you like, dyed-in-the-wool Austrian, fairly privileged, well-educated. He's, and his party is far more populist and nationalist. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're bad guys. He seems like an ordinary, decent, super conservative. And it's clear that the President and the Prime Minister do kind of get on. Famously, Nehammer went to Ukraine first, then he went to Moscow and essentially demanded that Putin explain himself. You've got to give the guy some props for that. Because he was like, hold on, war crimes, explain yourself. And he's been fairly vocal in regards to the Ukrainian war. Anyway, so, as I say, the President lives there. And the edifice, that's fairly recent. You've got some very old parts on the other side, stables and that sort of thing. They date back to about 1290, I think. Yeah. And of course, the garden here is really very pretty, really quite expansive, and is a lovely place to hang out on a hazy yet very nice Sunday in the summer. I'm headed that way soon to go to the museums. I did want to go into the Liechtenstein exhibit at Albertina, but it was 25 euros. And I can't afford that right now, so no. Anyway. So the Mozart Memorial behind me, quite a nice triple clef in flowers, in a fitting position close to the Opera House in the Burggarten. And just something that made me very happy recently. I'm coming back to Prague. I'm going to be in Prague towards the end of the month, and it just so happens that the Prague Shakespeare Company are putting on a production of Hamlet. at the Estates Theatre. That makes me so happy because I've been to over 30 productions at that theatre, and I always have the same box number 15, always by myself. Well, no, not every time, but most of the time. And the reason it sprang to mind is because the Estates Theatre is a beautiful theatre just off Staroměstské náměstí in Prague. And it's where Mozart put on his and directed Don Giovanni. It was the premiere of Don Giovanni. It's that way. And so I'm just so happy that not only are they putting on a production, not only is it Hamlet, not only is it at the Estate Theatre, but I'm going to be in town. I bought my tickets as soon as that was released. Anyway. Right, so probably my last stop for the day actually. This is Marie-Theresien-Platz. That is the lady herself. She was the Kaiserina, or Empress, of Franz Joseph. This whole area was built between 1850 and about 1905. Interesting point actually about the terminology Kaiser, because Julius Caesar was never emperor. He was assassinated in Rome in 55 BC before he could be, but his name was adopted by the emperors of Rome thereafter as a synonym for emperor, and that habit continued all the way across Europe, all the way up. Kaiser is just the German word for Caesar, and the Tsars of Russia, Tsar is just another word for Caesar, and it just means emperor. Anyway, so Franz Joseph, powerful chap, loved his wife very much, hence the monumental statue. Now, on my left is a very beautiful building. It's the Natural History Museum, and stunning edifice. Hofburg is right there, but it's beautiful with a kicker. It has an identical twin. That is the National Art Museum. They're identical in almost every way, except, and I only noticed this when I looked on Google Maps, the steps at the front are different, and I have no idea why. I'm a massive fan of symmetry. That's why I love Wes Anderson films so much. And this place does speak to me because it's just a duality, it's just a mirror image, it's fantastic. But the steps are different, and presumably they were one of the last things done. I have no idea why the architects and builders would do that. But yeah. Anyway. So the art museum and the steps. And as I mentioned before, it's very nice to see pride flags, modern pride flags, flying over so many public buildings. Yeah. So I'm headed back to the tram stop. I'm going to head back and visit the only supermarket that's open on a Sunday, buy some beer, go and cook myself a little bit of food. Anyway, behind me is the other side, where from when I was sitting in the garden is the other side of this. This is the older part, and this is the military government headquarters. A bit like London's Horse Guards, if that makes sense. You've got a really quite cool statue, actually, there, of the man himself, Franz Joseph. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a beer at this point.